DC Comics didn't have a Justice League for, I think, almost 3 years. It was actually quite wild. I think, what was it, Justice League 50 from Josh Williamson? They killed off the Justice League. We had Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths happen, but they decided not to come back because Dick Grayson and the Teen Titans, or the Titans, had proven that there was no need for a Justice League anymore, which never made any sense. They forgot to show that part, but they just decided not to team up again, even though they had been brought back and several big things had happened. And it was definitely time to bring the Justice League back. We got them a few months ago. Unfortunately, it's Justice League Unlimited. Well, not unfortunately that part, but it's by Mark Waid. I don't like Mark Waid. I don't support Mark Waid, but at least we do have a Justice League book back. But when they put the Unlimited part onto it, they made the Justice League essentially anybody in the universe with powers. You didn't even have to be a good guy, which I think is a problem. See also the Krakoan era of X-Men. The good guys and bad guys acting like they're all the same doesn't really work in a superhero universe, at least in my opinion. Although we did get an interesting issue from Titans recently from John Layman, where you had Killer Frost trying to fit into the Justice League, and it didn't go well. But I did enjoy that particular issue. And really, John Layman is the only person in DC Comics that I've really seen so far that has called bullshit and said that this was kind of a waste of time on Justice League Unlimited, where you have the Titans going, I'm fucking tired of having to ask the Justice League for permission to do everything. But that's kind of the way that they're going. And there are so many weird little miniseries around the Justice League right now that I guess it's supposed to all be connected. And I guess in theory make you want to read it all, but it's kind of gotten so big. And the fact that it's headlined by Mark Waid, I don't want to read it all. But apparently this was all by design. Every DC Comics title of late has seemed to find a reason to mention or refer to the Justice League base, the Watchtower satellite, from which the Justice League Unlimited looked down upon all humanity like gods. But some titles, it seems, are more Justice League-y than others. And if you're reading DC Comics these days, you're noticing that everybody is bringing up the Watchtower. Everyone is almost like ceding their moral authority up to the Justice League itself, even though I don't know if there's even a leader of the Justice League, but everyone's got like scanner cards or something, and everything is like, hey, before we do that, let's go check out the Watchtower. You know, who was it? Aquaman loses all of Atlantis. What's the first thing he does? Goes to the Watchtower. Let's go ask Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman what I can do. And it kind of has gotten really stale and boring really, really early. But I hadn't realized just how crazy and out of hand the Justice League Unlimited has already gotten just a few months in to the release of the book. A double-page spread in upcoming DC Comics titles reveals 10 titles are the core books for the Justice League from DC Comics right now. They are Justice League Unlimited, Aquaman, Superman, The Atom Project, The Question, Challengers of the Unknown, Flash, Green Lantern, Titans, and Black Lightning. And for those of you who can't count, that's 10 books that are all tying in specifically into the Justice League Unlimited book, obviously led by Justice League Unlimited. And I think that's a terrible idea. Now, I understand you want to have a wide variety and wide array of titles so you can have your shared universe and everything. But once you start required reading stuff to where you're not going to understand everything if you don't go in and read some of these other titles, I start to take it personally. Like, why do I have to go read Justice League Unlimited to get what's going on in Superman or Green Lantern or Titans or Aquaman? And those are the 4 books of the ones that are tied in that I'm really interested in. But I don't read Aquaman by Jeremy Adams so I can understand the current state of Justice League Unlimited. In fact, I read Aquaman, the solo title, because I'm avoiding Justice League Unlimited. I don't want that to tie back into that, whether you think it's a big deal and you're going to do an event out of it or something like that, which of course they are going to do. You know, I'm enjoying Superman, and I understand you should probably acknowledge that the Watchtower exists and the Justice League are back, but I don't go to the Superman title for any affiliation really for Justice League stuff. I want to see Superman fighting Doomsday right now and Time Trapper and all that kind of stuff, which is really, really exciting. The Dan Mora art is absolutely badass. You know, and you do have Lois Lane as Superwoman in there as well. But Josh Williamson has kind of made it work. But I don't want that tied into what's going on in Justice League Unlimited, a book I'm personally just avoiding like the plague. I think the best book in all of mainstream comic books right now is Green Lantern. I think Green Lantern is amazing. Jeremy Adams is kicking ass and taking so many names that it doesn't need to tie into the Justice League Unlimited. It actually holds it back. Green Lantern is so far beyond the purview of what the Justice League Unlimited are doing, the Watchtower over Earth, where Green Lantern Corps is doing things out on like Moga and Thanagar and all that kind of stuff. The Green Lantern book is awesome because it's away from Earth. And I'm glad it's not really Earthbound at this point. And, you go out and read those titles for certain flavors. And I don't like what John Layman's having to deal with in Titans, that every single issue, one of the Titans has to remind Wonder Girl or Nightwing, like, well, we probably got to ask the Justice League whether or not we're allowed to deal with this. Or the even better, the Justice League have ordered you to go take care of this because they ain't got time and it's not important enough for them. And it makes the Titans feel subservient and second best to the Justice League. And the Titans, while certainly they are the sidekicks of a lot of the original Justice Leaguers and all that kind of stuff, they don't need to be diminished any more than they already have been. The Titans shouldn't be having to ask Batman or Superman for permission to do anything, and they certainly shouldn't be ordered by the Justice League to be doing anything. But that's a lot of the way that it's working in Titans right now, and it's kind of frustrating because I do want Titans to be awesome, but if it continuously just ties back into the Watchtower and Justice League, I'm like, why am I even reading this? And then a lot of the weird titles that they've just released that are also completely subservient to Justice League Unlimited, like Black Lightning is probably the best one out of them that I've read. Surprisingly so. I do like the Fico Ocio art, but it doesn't have a particularly good writer on it. And, it's just kind of average at best, but it's Black Lightning as the new meta-powered welcoming committee. The question all on the Watchtower is one of the most embarrassing books DC has put out in some time. It was 20 of the 30 pages was just a guided tour of the Watchtower itself, as if it was that fucking interesting. I don't personally find the space station all that fucking compelling. And then Challenge of the Unknown, I gave up about 8 issues in. They literally had one of the Challenge of the Unknown cleaning toilets on the fucking Watchtower because that's how far down the fucking pecking order he was. Talk about making a character in a team feel not fucking important at all. They're like, listen, dude, I'm going to need you to adios those fucking toilets because they're clogged right now. And that's what he was doing. And I don't think DC realized just how badly that makes the Challengers of the Unknown kind of come off when you have characters doing stuff like that. In the Atom Project, I've heard kind of good things about it, surprisingly, but I've read John Ridley in the past. I will never freely read another John Ridley book again in my lifetime. It's been that bad. So I'm kind of avoiding that one, although I've heard it was all right. And then The Flash has been, a fucking nightmare basically since Cy Springer came on and ruined all the good work and goodwill that Jeremy Adams had done to kind of fix The Flash and Wally West. But, I like the shared universe and that there's connective tissue, but you don't want to connect it to such a degree that you can't enjoy them apart from each other. And I think that's what DC is trying to really build up here. And I do think that in the end, Justice League Unlimited will be an enormous mistake, not just because it's frontlined by Mark Waid, who some people are going to have an issue with, but because the team's too fucking big and they're having to rack and stack all the heroes, and nobody wants to find out that their hero is the one on latrine duty that's cleaning out toilets for fucking Superman. Can you imagine the kind of clogged toilet Superman produces? A super dump? I wouldn't want to fucking clean that. Would you want to clean up a fucking super dump? Oh, that would be absolutely awful. It would be no fun there. So I think this has gone off the rails in multiple ways at this point, and they probably went a little bit too big. Things should be connected, but to a slight degree, unless you're going to be doing a crossover story or something like that. And the Justice League Unlimited stuff has already turned me off to a lot of the new titles that they've been releasing, within the last 2 or 3 months, these miniseries attached to the DC All-In stuff. I'm going to keep reading Aquaman, Superman, certainly Green Lantern, Titans, and I'm hoping that I can continue to enjoy them without having to worry about the further exploits of the Justice League Unlimited. Personally, TCM Press is bringing you MegaCon 2025 exclusives that you don't want to miss. We've got Silent Nights by Jamie Tyndall, Depths of Valor by John Jiang, and Unholy Nightmare by Vu Dan. These incredible titles will be available in regular, foil, and metal covers, but only in very limited quantities. Mark your calendars. They drop February 3rd from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at thecomicmint.com. If you missed the online release, don't fret. The remaining stock will be available at MegaCon 2025. And while you're there, stop by the Comic Mint and TCM Press booth number 3038 to meet Dolan, aka Drew, Stephen Finkel, and Murphy herself, and get your copies signed. Don't wait long. When they're gone, they're gone. See you at MegaCon 2025.